first branch of the decision tree is it stuff that is unintentionally in the air versus stuff that is intentionally in the air? The unintentional stuff was broken into two categories. And that was clutter and atmospheric effects. The stuff that is intentionally in the air was broken into the next branch, which was us, not us. Not us was broken into two things: known others and unknown others. And that other is intentionally in the air, not us, not anyone we know. Not necessarily aliens. Could be coming out of the ocean, could be time travel. I mean, who the hell knows? But anything in that other category is astonishing.
Now let me be clear on this. I'm not here to convince you of anything. There are already powerful forces preoccupied with all of that. And no doubt right now, you're gazing into your $1 trillion weaponized attention vortex that has you hook, line and sinker via, and I quote, an invisible asymmetry of power. Look into that shit. And as we all scroll oblivious, it's aimed right at our fucking brain stems. But I'm not here for that. I'm here for a novel interruption to your catatonic state. Get your face out your phone and look up. Trust me, I've seen some shit. So what are we looking at here? A balloon? Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, it's a silver, metallic, flat, square with a bit of a triangle peak object wobbling and floating through the sky. It's not a plane, it's not a drone. What is it? We're stuck with balloon, right? And this is all just from that footage was from my phone. Which brings a question to mind. Which is, if there are more cameras in the hands of people than ever, then where is all the UAP/UFO footage, right? But in the same breath, even fewer people are looking up more than ever. Everyone has their face stuck in their phone. Hell, they won't even look up walking down the street. They won't even look up walking across the road. So, for the very few who do look up, and for the even fewer who look up and tend to see things, what does that say? And this very question happened to pique the interest and curiosity of none other than the CIA. Stanford professor Dr. Gary Nolan was approached by agents who proceeded to show him brain MRIs. These MRIs were of Department of Defense and intelligence personnel who had interactions of various levels with the unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Looking at the MRIs of some of these people, we noticed an area of the brain that seemed to be disturbed, let's say, or different in many of these individuals. So it's an area that I've talked about before between the head of the caudate and the putamen that had increased neural density. And it was larger in all these individuals. You just ask the question, okay, what's unique about these individuals? Well, they're all highly functioning, and you have to make snap decisions. And so what is that? That's intuition. One way to explain it would be intuition, or just highly intelligent.
Here's a question. Do you have a genetic and phenotypic predisposition to seeing the UFOs? Or post-contact, do you now have a more neuronally dense caudate nucleus and putamen?
No, I don't think it's changed. They're just able to as you say, see it.
Okay.
They're able to recognize it for what it might be and not dismiss it. Our senses are a filter to stop our brains from being overwhelmed with reality.
No, I did not get an MRI, nor do I think I am some snap decision-making super genius who can simply see it. I'm not sure what they mean by simply see it or what they're implying. Surely they're not implying that you and I could be looking at the same blue sky and I see a UAP clear as day and you see zip. Surely not. My phone can see it, I can see it, we all can see it. What they did touch on, though, was intuition. Now, many a three-letter agency has tried to bottle this for military and intelligence applications. Now, despite the significant pursuit by credentialed scientists and highly serious government agencies, the official word is
fairy dust. It doesn't exist. It's never landed. It is no matter. It's not on the elemental chart. It's not fucking real. Right? All right? Right. Stay with me. Mm-hmm.
Now, in my lifetime, I've certainly had what I'd consider to be very strong instances of intuition. It's not something I can recall on demand or utilize in any way, shape, or form. It's something that just hits me. One of my earliest memories of this, and I have many, but one of my earliest memories is I was about 6 years old, and I was sitting in the back of the Land Cruiser on the bench, looking out the back window as we drove down one of the atypical, long, flat West Australian highways. And as we drove, we come past one of the very few T intersections. And I watched from the back window as a car slowly crept up to the stop sign. Now, about 300 metres behind us, 400 metres behind us, was a car trailing. Now, you could clearly see 600-700 metres left or right of this intersection. But this flash immediately hit me. That car is going to pull out into the oncoming traffic. And I watched it happen. Bang. And as we continued down the highway, and I stared at the chaos behind us, I said nothing. Not to my parents, not to anyone. As 6-year-old me somehow thought that was my fault.
That's the coolest fucking story I've ever heard in my entire life. That's insane. Can I hear it again? Do you have time?
What we're gonna do right here is go back. How far are you going back? Way back. I have to tell you about the future! Wait, no. Hang on, Michael. I have to tell you about your future. As we go a little something like this. Hit it!
I promise I'll tie this UFO, UAP, intuition thing all together. We're not going back to the future. We're going back to the past, 2006 to be precise. But will there be flying cars? Yes. Not exactly. 2006, Google Earth And one of the first anomalies that were noticed by those who bothered to look were what were referred to as flying cars. Now, here we have an example. It appears to be a white vehicle burning on down the highway. The only issue is it's casually floating 20 to 30 feet from the ground. One which happened to pique my interest was located in Perth, Western Australia, the most isolated city in the world, on the banks of the Swan River at the Point Walter car park. Here we also have what appears to be a white vehicle floating 20 to 30 feet from the ground. Then it hits me. You have photos taken from Bayview Lookout at about 2004 on a clear, bright summer's day. Bayview Lookout overlooks Freshwater Bay and Point Walter. Open your laptop, check your photos. Now, the first photo I open, I do see something unusual in the sky. It's a dark cylindrical object tilted to its side, but it could be anything. So what we'll do is we'll use this house on the opposite bank of the river as a point of reference. We have the ferry in the foreground and the sandbank of Point Walter to the right. Here we have the ferry in the front, the sandbank of Point Walter in the second photo. Now let's zoom to the opposite bank and find the home that we are using as a point of reference. Here we go, we've got it here. And as I scroll up, I nearly fall out of my chair. I'll tell you what it's not. It's not a floating car. But what are the chances of me finding a silver metallic object floating in the sky at the same place as the infamous flying car? So by now you're either thinking the likelihood of me capturing a UAP-like object in the exact same place the Google Earth flying car is highly unlikely and we could be onto something here, or this is all a coincidence and optical illusion. What do you think the chances of this happening is? 18 years later, I'm snooping around on Google Earth in order to put this footage together and it hits me. I feel an incredibly strong urge, borderline necessity, to go and check the street view photos and user photos over at Bayview Lookout. This is a 360 view submitted by a user. Over here we have the exact place I took the photos in 2004, overlooking Freshwater Bay and Point Walter. Now let's examine the...
That's a bingo.
Hey, I'm not saying nothing. Optical illusion, coincidence, I'm happy with all of that. Just putting it out there. But thank you for watching, and since you hung out for the last 15 minutes, here's a little something I captured last week.